Hi everyone, this is Sharon. Today I have a flip through for you of this pretty French style journal. This is a custom order for Victoria, and she had asked for a journal that was tall and skinny, and she wanted it to have lots of blues and kind of a French theme to it. So that's what I attempted to make. And if we look at the front of it, I've got a pretty sparkly piece of jewelry on the front. And take that off, and then we've got this creamy colored sari silk for the closure. And then I also wrapped around the journal this pretty linen doily that's got some crocheted lace around the outside. And then for the cover of the journal, I contemplated a lot about this, and I think I changed it up about 3 times, but I finally landed on this beautiful antique French book digital that I adhered to this book cover, and I'll talk about that in a minute. So I've got this on the front and a similar one on the back. And then for the spine, I use this piece of linen that has some tone-on-tone kind of embroidery going through it. And I thought that really complemented the cover nicely. It wasn't too overpowering, but still had some detail to it. So the book covers are actually an antique ledger from the 1800s. And it had this darker green and black cover to it, which I really didn't want to put on the outside. So I decided to flip them around and put the outside to the inside. So that's what I've got for my inside covers. And then I just added a little bit of collaging on there. And then the back side, I did the same. And then for the spine, I covered that with this pretty cotton fabric that I think goes nicely with the journal. So as we head on inside, for digitals, I used quite a number of digital artists. I would say mostly probably Roxy Creations, Shabby Cottage Studio, and Ruby and Pearl for my pages. I will link all the shops, or most of the shops at least, that I used in this journal. So for this first page, I just added a little bit of lace to adorn that page. And then on this side, I've got some stenciling with stencil paste. And then I created this pocket and just embellished that with some embossed paper and some old book pages. And then in that pocket, I've got this little tag and a little journaling spot with this pretty image on the front and some of my Amity Bloom washi tape. Here I use this beautiful lace piece as a page. I think it might be, I don't know if it was from a piece of clothing or maybe a tablecloth. And then on this page, I've got this pretty wallpaper image, and then I've got clipped to that this very tall tag, and the base is an old time card. I just layered up some images and used this braille paper for the back. Here I created a flip with this old postcard, and I just backed that with some paper that can be used for writing. And on this page, I did a little bit of stamping on there, and that's an antique statement or invoice from 1912. And then on this side of the page, I just have this little cluster on the top with a wax seal. This page is actually a window envelope, and I just collaged over the top of that, added this label, and then that creates a see-through window to the next page. And then on the back side, I've just got this little pocket, and I inserted this faux calling card that I made. On this page, I just embellished with a piece of cloth that I stamped. And then in the center of the signature, I've got these vellum side tucks with this really pretty intricate image on there. And then the back is a, oops, ruby and pearl image. And then I created these two tall journaling cards, used a little bit of sari trim on each one. And then did some collaging on the back side. On this page, I have this crocheted piece on the top. And then over here, I've got this page that I just turned up to create a pocket. And this beautiful bird image is from Maria at J'adore Le Papier. I just love the colors in that. And then I just added a little label to the bottom of that. And then in here, I've got this embossed picture frame and an antique French letter from, I think, 1871 it says. Oh, it looks like an invoice, and it's a beautiful one. Look at the heading on that. Quite nice. Here again, I did some more covering of that envelope. And then on this page, I've clipped in a couple of tags that I made. This one's got a little charm on the top. And this one. Here's the other side of that fabric piece. And I just turned that back and did some decorative stitching on there to create this side tuck. And then in there, I just tucked these old recipe pages from a recipe book that I have. And I just added a little bit of ribbon on the front. I'm gonna get my flips together here. Okay, and then this page, again, I've got some stenciling on the top. And then I've got this tag. I've got a little tool for the ribbon on the top. And then some embossed paper that I put on the back side. And then on this side of the page, again, I've got some lace on there. And then I had pinned on this pretty card. I've got some pressed flowers on there and this piece of lace onto some old book page. And then here I've just got a paper doily. And then on this page I added a little bit of old trim, some washi tape. And then here on this side of the page, I've clipped on, this is an antique French seed packet. And then this old rag paper book page. Here I just took some vintage adding machine tape and kind of added that in. Did a little bit of stamping on the back side. This is an old page from a French, kind of like a homework notebook. And then here I added some lace to the page again. On this page, I have this flap on the top, and then I created these little clasps up there and then a button on the bottom. What I did was take some string and just string it up and down and up and down. And if you wanted to, you could take that all off. Excuse me. You could take that all off and open it up if you wanted to tuck more things in there. I'm just going to pull out these items from behind there. And this is a journaling card. This beautiful peacock on the front. And then on the back, I've just got a little journaling card tucked in the back pocket. And then this is a piece of, from an antique embroidery magazine. It's a French one. I don't know the date on it, but it's got some pretty images on there. This page is a page from an old, kind of like a vintage women's magazine, I think from the mid-1900s. And it had these beautiful flowers on there. And then on this side, I just embellished a little bit with this image and some lace on the top. Here I created a double belly band with some lace pieces. And then in there I tucked this beautiful image from Souvenir de la France. And then I did some stenciling in the back. Kept it light enough so that you could use it for writing. Then here I've got some antique ledger paper. And then in the center of the signature, I embossed this piece of cardstock and cut that out and just left that in the center. And then on each side of that, I clipped a couple of journal cards. And these, again, are some images from J'adore le papier. Really pretty images of these women. And so I just took that and folded the back side over to create a side tuck in the back. And then I just inserted some vintage pieces of ephemera in there. And then on the front, I just added this bow up in the corner. And then this one is kind of the other piece of that image of the women by the piano. And this one again, I added a ribbon at the bottom. And then on the back, I've got this tuck with some old ephemera pieces tucked in there. And then here's the other side of that lace belly band. The two, I just ran that right across, and it continues on this side. And then I've got another one of these beautiful images from Jacqueline. And then here's the other side of that magazine page with the gardening images on it. And I just created a flip out, and I've got 2 pockets in there. Those are made from some vintage wallpaper. And then I just added these images to the front of them and did some decorative stitching. And then in the pockets, I got these little booklets that I made. And it just has some old vintage paper in there that can be used for writing. And this one is similar, only in pink. Here I've got a vellum pocket that you can kind of see through. And then in there I tucked this pretty menu. And this is a digital, I don't remember where this came from. I might get it wrong. It could be Souvenir de la France. I have to check that one. But it's really beautiful. And I just created this back pocket on there. And then lined it with some antique paper. And then I inserted this tag. Other side of that adding machine tape. And then here I've got a pocket in the bottom here, and in there I created a little faux envelope that I just tied up with some cloth. And then this is made from a Roxy Creations image, one of her kind of embroidery kits. And then I've put it on lacquer paper, which is kind of a handmade paper. And then on the inside, I just laid in a number of journaling cards that I made. And back sides. I gotta get the right pages here. Okay, that goes in there. And then here on this page, I've just got this embossed kind of emblem with some ribbon behind it. And then on this page, I've used a number of images in this journal that I received from my friend Leslie, our 507 Leslie, and they're just gorgeous. They were look like book pages, and so I took some of the women out of those and put them in this journal, and I created a pocket with this one. And then in there I stuck this old French postcard. And then here I've got another vellum pocket that you can kind of see through. It's looks like an old document image. And then in there I've got a couple of items. This journaling card that I put together. And then this is just an old book page that I did some stenciling on, and that provides some writing room. Here I inserted this treated napkin. It's kind of like a full rice paper. And then on this page, I took some vintage wallpaper and created a strip and just wrapped it around the page to create a little belly band there, and on this side as well. And then on this side of the page, I just tucked in this tag. And then I just clipped on some paper for writing on the back, and it also has this beautiful image of these children. And then in this one, I've got this little card tucked in there. I did some slow stitching on the edges and backed it with some ledger paper. And then on this page, I created a little side tuck, and again, I did some decorative machine stitching. And then in that tuck, I've got this vintage photo that I just embellished a little bit. And then here, I've got another one of those images that I got from Leslie, and I created a top tuck with that. And then in that tuck, I've got a journaling card here, this invoice image on this side, and then another antique French postcard, some beautiful handwriting on the back. And then for a tab on this page, I used this really pretty sari trim as the tab. Here I've got some old music paper, and I just created a flip out and punched the edge of that. Then in the center of this signature, I've got, let's see, where did this come from? This was from a bird book I had. It was a rather large page, and I just created some pockets from that. And then on the strings, I added some digital buttons. And then in the sides of these pockets, I've got some things that I made. This little fold out notebook. I love this embossed paper, this gold paper with this woman on the front. And then this little tag. And then on this side, I've got some similar items. Another tag. And this beautiful little image. And then again, some writing papers on the inside. On this page, I clipped on with a rusty pin some laces, some nice old antique laces, some old tattered and torn fabrics, and then this beautiful piece of gauzy kind of linen-y fabric that has this embroidery on it. And then on this side of the page, again, I added some beautiful old antique lace and then just some sari ribbon that I kind of scrunched up on the top. Then here I've got another side tuck, and then in there I've got this little journaling spot where I added some writing paper on the inside. And this is some old French paper. I don't have a date on that, I don't think. It just adds a nice backing to it, and then this is the image. Here I waxed this image so you can kind of see through it to the writing in the back, and just added some antique lace on the top. And then on this side of the page, I've got this pocket, and then on there I clipped this old tin type of a mother and her son. And then in here I've got an antique invoice from the early 1900s and a journaling card that I made with some celestial images on this side and then some writing room on the inside. And then on this last page, I just embellished with a little bit of lace and fabric and a wax seal on there. And that takes us to the last page. So I hope you enjoyed that flip through today. I will see you next time, and until then, bye-bye.